Hello everyone, my name is Muhammad Tayyab and I am a DevOps engineer and I will teach you Docker. This is my first video on the introduction to Docker, what is Docker and what is Docker image, and then we will take it from there and I will explain you each different topics in my different videos. First, I will start with what is Docker. Docker is a containerization technology which is used to package and distribute application along with its needed dependencies, libraries, and binaries. That means you have your running application ready just if you have a Docker a container, and that is your all you need to run your application. It is so famous just that because of it, it is so portable that you can use your containers and run it wherever there is a Docker runtime install or a Docker engine is installed on any machine. You just containerize your application, create an image, and that you can use in any of your platform. So just remember, it's uh, it's uh, it's all your software or application needs. It's libraries, dependencies, and environment ready in a container. That is called Docker, and that is called container. And we have Docker, that is a containerization technology. First, let's start with containerizing a sample application. Here I will go to do a Docker docs documentation and show you an example that is from original Docker desktop, Docker documentation. For this demo, you would need a Docker desktop and a Git client to access the Git commands, and you need a text editor or preferably Visual Studio Code because I prefer it. I like Visual Studio Code. So, first of all, you will install your Docker desktop according to your operating system, which you have Docker desktop for Mac if you are a Mac user. Just a minute. Yeah. uh, if you are a Mac user, and if you are a Windows user, you will use Docker Desktop from Windows. And similarly, if you are a Linux user, you would use Linux Docker Desktop. We would go, I have a Windows operating system and I would use Windows, and but I have installed my Docker Desktop on my Windows, but you would just install it from here and run install the package. I can stop this because I have Docker already installed in my machine. Now let's start. Let's start with the. Let's get started into the actual practical application. This is using a Git clone of a repository that we can see. It's basically a GitHub repository of a sample application that is containerized, that we will gonna containerize. You can see this is the main application, but we would gonna clone this into our Visual Studio Code. We just copied this command, and here I have my Visual Studio Code. Let's run a terminal. Here we have a terminal ready, and yes, this is we paste the command we copied, and it's gonna clone all the repository files. And now we have, you can see here, we have a repository ready that is downloaded from GitHub. That is basically a sample application. We will go into change directory and go into this directory with cd command, and now we are inside the repository. Then let's follow the documentation. We can see the content of the clone repository, that we have this getting started app just like we have. Now we are inside uh, inside the uh, inside the repository. We can see list down the files directories. Like you can see, we have spec src package.json, just like this, spec src package.json. Now we will gonna build the app's image. You have to remember that for running your container, you always need an image. And what is image? Image is a template for running a container. They can be shared and reused across systems and environments. And Docker file is basically used to build a Docker image. So, so you need to build an image. And how we gonna build an image? We would use Docker file for building an image. And that is a template that will be used to run containers. You can run as many containers from a single image. You would use that image and you can host your image onto a registry. But we will not talk about that right now. We will just talk about Docker image. We will now we are into the directory, and now we will we are a Windows user. Let's click here, and we will copy this command. We are already in the directory of GitHub repository, and here we paste. Okay, we're just gonna copy this again. It showed some error, but we can see we have a Docker file here. I don't know what this error is showing, but we have a Docker file ready here. And then this Docker file, as I told you, this Docker file will be used to build an image. And these are set of instructions in the Docker file that will be used to build an image. I will explain to you each and every instruction in my upcoming video. So please tune tune into my channel and please see the next video on where I will explain you what these instructions are saying in detail. Let's save this. We control S, save it, and we will we will basically build this Docker file to create an image. Let's just copy this command and let's paste this. So what this is doing is this is doing Docker build build the and gives a tag to it getting started. That means that image would have a tag name getting started, and dot basically represents where our Docker file is. As you can see, our Docker file is in this directory. We will just simply add dot, and it will automatically read the Docker file because it a build always it reads Docker file. And now we will okay for before running build command, we need to start our Docker desktop. So I will start my Docker desktop. I have just started my Docker desktop, and we will wait for a few seconds to Docker's desktop to run because we need Docker engine to actually build our images or to access Docker functionalities. This is the container that I have already created before this demo. Let's delete this. This is and we can also delete the image. Let's you can see this is the image, but let's delete this image. Now we have containers. As we can see, I only have my Kubernetes containers. That is basically a different technology for the container orchestration that I will explain to you later. Let's go to our repository and now we will copy the command again, and now we have Docker desktop running. Let's see, we have it running. Yeah, our Docker desktop is Docker engine is running, our Kubernetes is running. Now we can run the command, and you will see that it will start building an image. It's building an image, and that is basically building these instructions, and these instructions step by step, and that is on a layered structure. You can see it's running run yarn install production, This is all it's you can see this is our command here that it's running. It will take few seconds or half a minute to actually build an image. It's taking time because I have deleted the my already created image, and now it has to fetch all the layers of the image again. That's why it's taking some time, but I think it would be ready in a moment. It's built. Let's see that we have Docker images, and we have Docker images, and here we can see we have a getting started Docker image created 11 seconds ago. We can see this, and we can see it from Docker desktop. We have this created 26 seconds ago getting started, that the name basically that we gave to our Docker desktop. Now now we have an image ready, and we can actually start our app container. Just like I told you, you have all your application needed dependencies and application ready to run your application in a container. We will gonna copy this command. We will copy this command, go into terminal, and go to the directory. Okay, yeah. So basically, Docker run dash D flag is used to say detach, that it means it will be running in the background. The container will be running in the background. And P means port, that we will be mapping from host container, and from container port to our to this will basically be our host address and uh, host machine local address, and this will be the port that will be used, and 3000 is basically the port. This 3000 is basically the port of a container. Let's see it from here. Let's confirm it from here. The D flag is used for detach, run the container in the background. P flag short for publish. Okay, I'm sorry, P for publish. P tag is basically a publish, and it creates a port mapping between the host and the container. That means your host ports and the container ports are mapped. That means, and it also tells you that a P flag is taking a string in the format of host, container, where host is the address on the host, and container is the port on the container. So basically, the address of the host and the container is the port on the container. Okay, and this host is the address on the host. So address on the host would be this 127, this IP address, and the port of the host, address on the host. Uh, so host is basically this whole address with port, and the container is just a port on the container. So we have this our command. Let's run this command, and we will have a container. It tell us an ID of the running container, and our container is running in the background. Let's just go to localhost. Okay, just okay. Let's go to localhost 3000, and here we have our application. This is an application that we just containerize and we can run. This is so fast and this is so agile that you have agility of containers for developing your application, building your application, and running it in any environment. Basically, your environment will remain the same just because of this Docker container. Container is full package to distribute your application, and you have your container ready and you can use it when you're developing your applications. In the next video, we will talk about Docker image, uh, this Docker image, how we build the Docker image just from these instructions and what are these instructions telling. Thank you for watching my video. Please subscribe to my channel and please subscribe to my channel and like my videos. If you find something useful in this video, please like my video and please subscribe to my channel. Thank you.